Welcome to Kykar Wins Fury. We have Kykar versus Kykar, which was not planned, but I love it. So, as far as our opening hand, we're definitely going to keep on this one. We have 3 lands in our hand. We have a conditional counterspell, Unified Will, a little bit of card advantage and impulse, and a beautiful enter the battlefield damage effect in Proforos. Definitely going to take that. So, let's go and lead off with the Temple of Triumph, because at least Flooded Strand will allow us to have access to 2 mana next turn. And that is going to be Dawson of Perfection. I think at this point, since we've recruited the guard, I'd rather put Dawson on the bottom right now and keep our fingers crossed for some sort of fast mana. But yes, welcome to Kykar versus Kykar. We're going to be celebrating with some Jeskai colors today here in the USA. And I don't know, it's pretty cool having Kykar versus Kykar. So we are playing Kykar Wins Fury. Flying, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Then for an activated ability, sacrifice a spirit, add red mana to your mana pool. We're playing against our opponent's version of Kykar, which is flying. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Then for an activated ability, get this, sacrifice a spirit, add red mana to your mana pool. So, pretty crazy. Well, let's see what we draw into. And, stupid. Let's go ahead and go for Arid Mesa. Yeah, and that puts us online for an impulse, which, kind of like that. So anything else will pass the turn. So we did cover both commanders. Let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors, TCG Player. If you go to bit.ly/JoltMTG, that will allow you to contribute to the Gladiator Hunger Fund. Running a Carnage Gladiator is very expensive. There's a lot of carnage he likes to consume. So if you enjoy my content and you'd like to get magic cards and feel good about supporting Carnage Gladiator, hey, use that link. So let's go and go for Impulse. We're going to look at the top 4 cards of our library. That is going to be a Soul Ring, which, man, this is pretty good. So we've got Royal Crown Land, so we don't need Monastery, Mystic Monastery. Do we want Soul Ring or Impact Tremors? I feel like Soul, yeah, let's just go Soul Ring. That's going to be too good. Put those on the bottom in any order and then pass the turn. It's going to keep up with their Arcane Signet and also allow us to go for a nice little Recruiter of the Guard search up. And we are hitting lands with this Kykar deck today, and that makes me very happy. Let's go for, I cannot tell you how many times that I've gone to play Kykar and all the lands are like, hey, let's hide. Let's keep it a secret. All right, so yes, we definitely use Recruiter of the Guard's ability. I think at this point, typically when you're playing Kykar or, different builds of deck, we just want to be able to generate incremental value over the course of the game, and I just really like the thought of Monastery Mentor into Kykar. I think that'll be really good for us. So anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn. Let's give a quick shout out to our sponsor, MTGOTraders. If you'd like to play Magic Online, especially Commander, they're going to be a good source for you to grab some cards, and they deliver the cards on Magic Online, which is like having your own little butler at a local gaming store. Let's give a quick shout out to inkgaming.com. If you go to inkgaming.com/Jolt, that'll give you a 10% discount off of your order and allow you to check out some of my cool playmat series. We have not reached the Flickr technology on playmats, but they're getting closer every day. They have the technology. We can rebuild it. And last but not least, I started a Patreon. So there we go. Let's go ahead, and if you'd like to support cool content like this, there's a link down in the description below. But if you are keeping score at home, it is officially free time. So at this point, we have the ability to go for Monastery Mentor. I kind of like getting Kykar down. Yeah, let's do that. So let's go Kykar. Let's tap down for Jeskai colors. Helps if that taps down for white. That's going to be blue. That's going to be red. And we'll tap down Soul Ring. Let's go Kykar. Yeah, there's nothing else that we can go for 2. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to leave up Unified Will. But I kind of like where we're at. If something does end up happening to Kykar, we still have Monastery Mentor to get down. And also Dawson of Perfection, which is going to allow us to really kind of amplify out from here. So I'm not going to swing in for 1. We could try to do the, hey, we got some damage. Do you want to block on Recruiter of the Guard? But I think we'll just leave up on Recruiter of the Guard right now. But yes, it is officially free time. But yes, we are celebrating today using some Jeskai colors. Very excited. And if you haven't seen Kykar before, this is 100% Jeskai Spellslinger. You can see our opening hand is exactly, or what we have in our hand is exactly what we're trying to do with this deck. Get down some sort of amplifying effect with Monastery Mentor, Dawson of Perfection, tag along with Proforos, Indestructible, very hard to deal with sometimes, and that's going to allow us to slowly chip away at our opponent. And especially, depending on what sort of build our opponent has, we'll see. But in a control matchup like this, where you're kind of if you've never built like a spell slinger deck, what you're trying to do is just kind of slowly build up a board state and just get to the point to where you can just start casting your spells really cheap and then just building this almost this board state that's so hard to deal with outside of a board wipe. And so when you have matchups where decks are kind of evenly paired like this, where they're both kind of control versus control, if we can end up getting like a 2-for-1 for our spells or end up getting a 3-for-1 for our spells, that's going to be the difference in us deciding a game where it's control versus control or something like that. So that's going to be quiet contemplation. Tap target creature. Yeah, that is perfectly fine with us. That is not something that we're super concerned with. We'll probably still end up cracking Flooded Strand at this point right now. And oh yeah, we're going to have tokens versus tokens. This is going to be very excited. Now, one thing that can help us get a difference in this is if we get down Dawson of Perfection and get those wizard tokens to flip, that'll allow us to kind of compete with those 2/2 spirit tokens. So we'll see what else we can end up going for. We're going to let that go through. That's going to put us down to 25. And let's go ahead and crack Flooded Strand. Grab ourselves probably another white source. I think, actually, we'll go and grab the Triumph. That'll be perfect. So let's have that Triumph come into play tapped, and then let's see what we draw to. Hopefully a cheap spell would just be perfect. But Temple of Enlightenment, we'll take that. So at this point, so if we end up going Monastery Mentor, that's going to give us the... Yeah, we almost need to go for Dawson of Perfection, because we need to really get our air game going very quickly. So let's tap that down. Let's tap down Temple of Triumph. Let's have Dawson of Perfection come down. We still have access to Unified Will if we play Polluted Delta and not the Scryland, which is not what we're going to click on. And then anything else will pass the turn. So if our opponent just happens to cast anything, we're going to go for Unified Will. Doesn't matter if we're not going to be able to counter it, because at this point, we just want to get bodies on the battlefield. That's going to be very important for us. So pretty much any spell that just gets thrown out at them, we're going to toss a Unified Wheel at it. And that's one of the fun things in Commander, that if you are running, stuff that's conditional counter spares, like, sorry, our opponent did something in the chat, and that totally derailed me for a second. They said, my deck, they just made it, and they go against the same commander. But yeah, they said they just built it. So to have Kykar versus Kykar, that's pretty fun. But yeah, if you are, especially if you're a Spike, if you're somebody that plays a lot of CEDH, building a Kykar Spellslinger deck that doesn't really have like a combo win condition, it's a lot of fun. And then we'll kind of jump into that here in a second. Let's grab Tundra and then anything. Yeah, just in case our opponent's got a stifle effect, I would hate to not be able to cast a spell and take a pretty big chunk of damage this turn. But yeah, if you're somebody who plays EDH and you want to build something that you can bring to kind of more competitive casual settings, highly recommend Kykar, because all it is just Spellslinger. We have no solid win conditions in here other than building up a board state like Monastery Mentor, Dawson of Perfection, just kind of building up a ground game, building up an air game, and really just kind of chipping away, just building a nice baseline value that's hard to deal with. It's always one of those decks that, win or lose, Dream Trawler, enter the battlefield. Yeah, let's go and go for Unified Will. We're actually going to be able to stop that because they did sacrifice one of their spirit tokens. So let's go and get these tokens on the battlefield. Let's get a 1/1 white spirit token. That's going to be a Dawson trigger, which also, yeah, so if you control 3 or more wizards, yeah, I think we're actually going to get Dawson to flip. So we have to cast another spell. But that's one of the beautiful things about Dawson of Perfection in a deck like this, is that Kykar's a wizard, so it kind of works towards that flip trigger, which is pretty nice. And that is going to hold them at bay, so hopefully we should be able to kind of stabilize at this point. We're just looking for a spell at this point. Lightning Greaves. We will certainly take that. So let's go and lead off with Temple of Enlightenment. Get the scry going. A little bit of scurry, a little bit of fever, and insanity. It's going to put that on the bottom for right now. Let's go Monastery Mentor first. There we go. Let's have Monastery Mentor come down. Let's go and cast Lightning Greaves. Yeah, because, yeah, I kind of like that, because we're going to be able to protect either Dawson or Kykar, and it's going to be pretty good about that. So let's get the Monastery Mentor Monk token on the battlefield. This can be another Spirit token with Kykar, and we can actually sacrifice 2 of these spirits to power out Proforos. Is that what we're going to do right now? Our opponent has no haste at this point, so we might just simply want to go for that. Let's do that. So let's go and sacrifice a spirit token. But that'll only, yeah, no, we can be aggressive on this. Let's go and sacrifice the spirit, sacrifice spirit. Let's go for Proforos. And we're pretty far away from devotion on Proforos. We'll kind of see. I think we're only looking at 2. Let's go and put the lightning greaves. I think at this point we would much rather protect Dawson of Perfection, because eventually we're going to be able to get that to flip. Yeah, I think that's going to be a better bet, because we can always end up casting Kykar if we need to. And that's going to be reroute, change target of target activated ability with a single target. Draw. All right, that's a very interesting line right there. And see what they changed the target to. Because the good thing about Lightning Greaves is that it's a free equip, so we can move it around whatever the change target is. So it's going to be Lightning Greaves on the Monastery Monk, and we'll go and shift it back over onto Dawson, because that's going to be a key to this, is keeping up with those favorable winds. So there we go. Anything else? No, we're going to pass the turn. So at this point, we're just hoping that we can get some sort of either non-creature spell or basically just not a land. That's kind of what we're looking for, because if we hit non-creature, that's going to be Monastery Mentor, that's going to be Kykar. If we hit an instant or sorcery, that's going to hit all 3. And this is what I'm talking about. You know, if you're a spike that wants to build something that's just a fun deck to play, you know, building up a board state like this, you can become a huge threat at the battlefield. You know, we are a little bit low on card draw at this point right now, so if we can find some sort of planeswalker or something that generates that steady card value, card draw, you can see where you can just build up this board state that is just insanely quick. So we'll see what our opponent's going to go for. That is going to be Seagate Restoration. Draw cards equal to the number of cards in your hand plus 1. You have no max hand size. Okay. That is, yeah, got him back up to 5. The good thing is that they are tapped down on 1 mana, so we do have to watch out for some sort of, you know, board wipe. But if we can rip into a counter spell or something like that, that'll really kind of help us out. And one of the things you do want to keep in mind with Kykar, come on, let's see what we rip into. Oh, Marsh Flats. All right, so let's make the Marsh Flats. We can end up going for Proforos activation, so let's just go and make the land drop for the turn, and then we'll go and pass the turn over to our opponent. So, yeah, I just don't think we want to swing into this at this point. Once we get Dawson to flip, we'll be in a pretty good spot. We're going to be able to hopefully stabilize it. Now, if they have the board wipe, then so be it. But at least we can kind of rebuild with Kykar. Now, one of the things with Kykar is that it has this activated ability of sacrificing your spirits. You can definitely take Kykar in kind of like this storm or a huge creature spell. It's just going to shift the nature of the deck into more, I need to have Kykar down, I need to have a lot of spirits on the battlefield, and then I need to start sacrificing them. So that is one of those. Sphinx of the Final Word, okay. We're going to be able to stop that. Hopefully get a few more flying threats on the battlefield. But yeah, you know, if you do end up taking it big mana deck, you know, it does work out, but it just kind of shifts your game plan to where you're almost kind of putting them all in one basket, whereas a Spellslinger version like this, it keeps you open. Your game plan's open. You can adjust to things on the fly, and I think that's what makes it so much fun. So let's go and crack Marsh Flats. That way there's one less land that we draw into. We'll go and grab this Sacred Foundry. I think that'll be a good option. Have that come into play tapped, and let's see what the Magic Gods treat us with. Come on. Thrain Dynamo. That is a non-creature spell, and we will take it. So let's go and lead off with Thrain Dynamo. That's going to be 1-2. Yeah, because it's going to pump up Kykar. And not that we're worried about a huge flying threat, but the more flying options we have on the battlefield, the better. So let's tap down Sacred Foundry, and we'll tap down. Oh, look at that. That is just beautiful. Eventually, we're going to be able to build up enough monks to where we can swing in and really chip away, maybe at that spirit token. Probably want to get to the point to where we'll have to take down Kykar with it. I think that'll be a pretty good option. There we go. This going to be 1/1 spirit on the battlefield. It's going to be 2 damage to our opponent. And the good thing is that even if we can't fight through this, we have Proforos on the battlefield now. So we're going to be able to at least just cast our spells, get in some extra damage, and really start chipping away. So we're looking at a 3/3. Yeah, I think we'll still just go and pass the turn. Worst case scenario, if we just end up going for a ton of Proforos activations, in fact, we'll go for that math here in just a second. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have at least 5 red sources. That's going to be like 15 total mana to go for everything. Ooh, and look at that promo spell sky. Man, I love this art. It looks really good. And that's going to be Hidden Coves. Cost 1 less to cast. Yeah, if we can just simply just grind it out with Profros, that might be pretty good. But yeah, we're looking at, you know, it's going to be 3 mana to go for these activations. We have at least 5 red mana, so we're looking at 15 total mana to be able to go for that. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we need to get to 15 mana before we're going to be able to fully pump up Profros. But we might, if we hit a non-creature spell, oh yeah, Pongify. Okay, so let's see. This spell can't be countered flying and hexproof. So I think at this point, I think we just leave up Pongify. Our opponent has an active Spellskite over there. And so what we can do is if we want to chip away a little bit of extra damage at our opponent, we can go for Pongify on Kykar. That's going to give us the extra wizard token. That's going to give us the Monastery Mentor trigger. And we might do this during our upkeep just to get an extra prowess trigger. I think I kind of like that. But yeah, because if we end up going Pongify, they're going to pay the extra 2. That's going to be Monastery Mentor, Dawson, Kykar. That's going to be 3 more tokens that enter the battlefield. That's going to be 6 damage from Profros. That's going to should be 1 mana from Pongify. That should get Dawson to flip once we have the correct number of wizards. Then if you control 3 more wizards, I think that'll get it to flip next turn. But either way, I think we'll be okay. All right, this could be Sphinx of the Final Word flying in and Kykar. And yeah, I guess we just let this go through. This is going to be 10 total damage. That'll put us down to 12. I'd rather keep a board state for Profros. Now, if they have a board wipe, so be it. But we'll just go and let this go through because we might be able to alpha swing next turn, which would be pretty important for us. Yeah, and I kind of like doing this. So let's see what we draw into. If we hit another non-creature spell, this is going to be good. So let's go and make the Temple of Epiphany land drop. That's going to be a Scry and a Scurry and a little bit of Fever. The Royal Scions. Yes, that will be on top of our library. So at this point, do we go Pongify right now? That's going to be an extra monk token that we can shift around. We don't have to worry about any flying threats in the air. I think we can go for this. So let's go for this. Let's go for Pongify on Spirit Token. Or do we simply just want to chart? Yeah, I think we just actually just target Spellskite. Yeah, let's do that. So let's go Pongify on Spellskite. Let's go and get these triggers on the stack. Okay, our opponent's going to go for a Swerve. Change the target spell with a single target. Okay, yeah, that's fine. But we'll see what they end up targeting. The good thing is that we do have Lightning Greaves. That's still going to give... Okay, what did they change? So they're going to be able to tap down a creature. Okay, so they tap down Monastery Mentor. They're going to change Pongify to something else. Let's see what they end up going for. No, I will be perfectly honest. I was not expecting a Swerve on that. So it's going to be Pongify on Kykar. We're going to get an extra Spirit token. That's going to be 2 more damage to our opponent. Put them down to 20. And that will get a final iteration to flip. But there's nothing that we can do in response to that. So it's going to be Kykar. Yeah, that's fine. We're not going to be able to sacrifice the Spirit. That's going to be Bird token. So that'll give us another 3/3. 8 token on the battlefield. That'll be an extra 2 damage. Yes, we're definitely going to return Kykar back to the command zone. That's going to be 2 more damage. I think at this point, we don't necessarily have to go for... We can swing in for 6. So at this point, let's kind of add up. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we're going to have at least 3 activations. Pumping up +1/+1. So it's going to be 9, that's going to be 14, and they do have a Spirit token, so they're going to block on a big chunk. Yeah, I think at this point, since we do have flying, actually, yeah, well, we still need to get in for a chunk of damage, so let's go for some Profros activations. I like this. That's going to be 1, 2, and we're going to go ahead and shift the Lightning Greaves onto 1 more flying creature. That's going to be the Human Wizard, because that's going to be a 6/2. Okay. I think that's good. So anything else, we can't tap down for 3 more. Let's go and push in. At this point, I think we just push in with the entire crew because they have 2 flying threats. Yeah, that'll be good because that still gives us at least 1 blocker in the air. We've got the ground covered with Ape token and Monk token, and I think this will be combat damage depending on how they block. Because let's say they throw the Spirit token in front of the 9/5. Then they throw it in front of the 6/2. That still gives us 10, 14, 18, and then almost have to be them blocking out entirely on the ground. So let's see how they decide to go for blocks, but I think this should be it. All right, so they go for blocks. Let's see if they're going to sacrifice some spirits. Let's see if they have some sort of payoff spell. It's going to be reflect damage. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, goodness. Okay, so they're going to be able to tap down the flying spirit token. Oh, no. Is that... Let's see what they target. That's probably more than likely... Oh, why not have a dual caster mage on that? Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is the equivalent of Jeskai Pocket Sand. I would assume, yes, that reflect damage, nice. Okay, alright, so we're going to get double reflected damage off of a dual caster mage cast. Let me say this person is winning Commander right now. This is what Commander's about. That's going to direct more than enough damage back at us to close the game out. The next time a source of your choice it deals to that controller instead. So let's see that this go through. That's going to put us down to 3. And then, well, we've got the flying. Yeah, they've got flying in the air cover because we're down to 3. That is going to be it. Good game to our opponent. Maybe we could have held some stuff back, but yeah, I don't know. You never really play around reflect damage. Yeah, they're going to be able to get it because we have 1 spirit token and they have at least 12 in the air, and the biggest we can stop is going to be 6 of that. So good game to our opponent. This is a very fun game. You can see where we do have the Spellslinger version of Kykar. Very efficient, getting a lot of tokens out there. But hey, this is what makes Commander great. You know, reflecting damage, effects like that when your opponent is not expecting that. In the combat math, you know, that's going to win you some games right there, and you can see our opponent got it on that one. So good game to our opponent. It's beautiful to see things like that happen, and that's what makes Commander so much fun to play, and especially in a Kykar versus Kykar. So anyways, if you enjoyed the video, hey, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.